Hello and good evening to you all. I don't know whether you can hear me, but I believe at least 11 of you are here. Hello, are you here? I'm not allowed to talk for very long in this fashion because last time YouTube told me up. They said I mustn't say these things. So I would like to say thank you awfully very much to all of you kindly people who have become the person who's become my 20,000th subscriber on YouTube. So I say cheers to the 20,000. This is not beer, this is whiskey. So don't worry, I'm starting with a whiskey. I'm starting as a mean to go on. So cheers for a lovely evening and welcome to Amanda. Can you hear me, Amanda? Hello to Sheila and Andrea. I don't know if you can hear me. Can you hear me? Please confirm, because if you can hear me and you are people who've followed me all along, then we won't bother with all this can you hear me nonsense, because it's rather boring and rather bloody tedious. Yes, so you say. So, right, there we go. We've got Chartel, Zon Rider, and TMTB. You are loud and clear. Well, here's a White and Mackay whiskey that I've kindly been given by my lovely host. There is a little dog sitting next to me, but hasn't joined in yet because it's too busy destroying a blanket. It's having great fun doing thus. We've got 35 of you. We've got 35 of you already. So hello and welcome to each and every one of you. We have our mystery guest in the background. We have our quiz master. We don't have Ms. Hensley here yet, but she did insist that we would call her Ms. Hensley, not Mrs. So I am going to honor her request and refer to her in the pronoun that she wishes, because in these days one has to be very careful with the old pronoun, doesn't one? So what did I think of Jilly Cooper, the shoe? Rivals is a wild ride. What did I think of Jilly Cooper, the shoe? I don't know. I have met Jilly Cooper. I thought she was a lovely lady. I think the mystery guest knew her quite well as well. But I don't know the shoe. But Rivals, I did watch the series. Quite entertaining as a program. I didn't read the books because they're not my kind of books. But I think Jilly Cooper added a bit of colour, mystery, and joy to the world. A bit of stupid 1980s buffoonery. A little bit bonkers. And a little bit like this little dog here, which has just come to say hello. Here we go. Here we go. You got your first mystery guest. There you go. Mystery guest number one has arrived. So there we go. You meant the show Rivals. Yes. Well, Rivals was entertaining, I will say. I think it was good television, but it's only showing it really will be a great hit because not everybody can watch it. Amanda Roberts says, "You make me laugh." What did I think about Fauci? Him taking the fifth for every question. I haven't really followed Fauci's whole process. I realize that people think that I'm interested in utterly everything, but I really don't find Mr. Fauci very exciting, and I'm really not that into him. Oh, here is Ms. Hensley. Ms. Hensley has arrived in the room. We salute Ms. Hensley because she's also a great fan of the little ones. So here is a little hello to Ms. Hensley from another little friend. So there we go. We've got Miss Hensley here, and we will refer to you as Ms. as you requested. So there we go. Could I shine a light on the disastrous administration of the civil service pension scheme? Asks Rose. Well, I do think that the entirety of government in this country is disastrous, but I do not know the inner details of the disastrous administration of the civil service pension scheme. Perhaps the mystery guest might have views on such himself. Does the mystery guest have views on the disastrous administration of the civil service pension scheme?
I don't know the details of it. It's all a disaster.
He just thinks it's all a disaster. So let's be honest. We're not much use at answering a question. We're absolutely rubbish. So we better not answer that question because we're as much use as a chocolate a chocolate teapot, aren't we here? So I'm very sorry we can't answer that question. So it was a very specific question. And Tina is saying, please remember to like the stream. That's very kind, Tina. Thank you for encouraging people to like the stream. That's very generous. And if people would like to join us, I would like to say thank you ever so much because we have 20,000 of you now in our subscribers. And it would be nice to have a few more of you become a member if you wish to. You're very welcome to do that. Or if you wish to donate via other means, PayPal and Ko-Fi or whatever it's called, that would be appreciated too. So we appreciate all donations and support. And follow me on Twitter at m_Steeples, or just follow us on here. We welcome more and more of you. We're getting plenty of little fun here going on alongside me, and here is the little one. So you are listening as you are cooking. Oh, right. Chartel. Well, there we go. Cooking with Matthew Steeples. It's a bit like cooking with Bobby Dazzler. Look him up. He's a person who likes to cook, and him and his wife, the Jeans Queen. You could have a look at them. Interesting pair, those two. Have a Google of them and see what you think. Bit of alternative advice for alternative viewing. Do I own a property, as I seem to be in everyone else's on podcasts? Well, I have mostly done these from hotels and other places. I'm not suggesting I film anything in anywhere else. I'm not trying to claim I own such a place, so I don't know what your point is, Mr. Aidan Hughes, but no, I do not own the place I'm sitting in. So if you want to make a point, please make your point. Thank you. Right. Smoky Roo, you're listening from Rainy Island. Well, at least it's raining somewhere, because the scorched earth does deserve a bit of refreshments. And my friend here in this apartment that I do not own, it has been watering the apartment garden of the apartment that I do not own. So there we are. So there we go. Katz McPhee is butchering meat in the kitchen whilst listening to your dulcet tones. Perhaps you're a bit of a Hannibal Lecter. Are we going to have some Chianti to go with that, perhaps? Katz McPhee, or maybe some favela beans. That could be particularly lovely. So to go with the liver, that would be very nice if you wish to serve that up for myself and my fellow friends here later. So please bring it round. We welcome your company. Can I tell you about the butcher of Aberdeen feeding her boyfriend to his children? Asks TMTB. I think you're asking me a question I utterly no recollection of having any knowledge of. I'm afraid, TMTB, I do know who you are because you've been writing to me for many a year, but I think you're trying to stir the pot with a random question. And I don't know who the butcher of Aberdeen is, so I can't answer. Maybe there is such a person, but I cannot answer that. But welcome to the 54 of you who've already arrived. How is the mystery guest today? Asks Tina De Silva. Is the mystery guest in a good mood or a bad mood?
I'm all right. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Well, that was a rather John Major style answer, but he's semi-positive. He sounds like he's on the up, doesn't he? So you're probably going to get some positivity from the mystery guest. Do I think Greg Wallace is innocent? Was he wrongly sacked? Perhaps I should ask the mystery guest. Do you think Greg Wallace is innocent, or was he wrongly sacked?
I haven't been following that.
He says he hasn't been following that. I think the mystery guest may be telling a lie. Does the mystery guest even know who Greg Wallace is?
No.
So the mystery guest could have been more honest in his answer at the very beginning, couldn't he? It wasn't very clever of him to try and outdo me, but I didn't expect that. Did I hear about Perez Hilton? I heard that this man called Perez Hilton had some kind of incident, yes, and tried to harm himself. I did once do an interview with Perez Hilton, but it was many years ago. I can't say I really knew much about Perez Hilton. Let's see if the mystery guest knew about Perez Hilton.
No.
No, now he's being honest, you see, because he doesn't want to get caught up in the saga. No, we don't know anything about Paris Hilton, Enigma Blue, really, so we can't really answer the question. Ron Gibbons says that the other one used to present MasterChef. He is a kind man. Jonah Schalberg asks, are there any updates on the Stuart Lubbock case? Jonah, Michael Barrymore has been causing scenes with lots of people. Michael Barrymore has been filming himself at his new home in the southwest in the Devon area, or Somerset, Devon, wherever he lives. Some horrible, place he's moved to that he's taken over and ruined. Everywhere Michael Barrymore turns up ends up ruined because Michael Barrymore is an evil piece of scum. He's a terrible, terrible man who has no respect or decency, and he goes around jumping on bins, throwing himself in bins, pestering people in supermarkets. The people who own the supermarkets or the convenience stores are rather sick of him turning up to their shops pretending he's famous. He's just a nuisance. This man is a reprehensible rat. 9 people went to a party on the 31st of March 2001 at a bungalow, not a mansion, in Roydon, Essex. 8 of them lived. Michael Barrymore and his friends are a bunch of liars. The whole lot of them. I'm not scared of them. Sue me, Michael Barrymore. I'd be honoured if you did. Because you, Barrymore, are a coward. You're a cretin. You ran away from the scene where a man, a father of 2 children, Stuart Lubbock, an innocent man who was not homosexual, was raped and murdered. And you had the cheek and audacity to say that he was raped in the morgue of a hospital. You're sick in the head. You're mentally unhinged. Your lies are filthy and rotten and wrong. You claimed he drowned in your swimming pool. Why did you have a swimming pool at your home when you claimed you couldn't even swim? Your ex-wife, Cheryl, who the police had told to get away from you because you were known for beating her appallingly, beating her to a pulp, that she was warned to get away from you. You are a revolting, horrible, evil man. You are an individual who got down on your knees in the Big Brother house to Jimmy Savile and worshipped him like he was God. You dressed up in the Big Brother house as Hitler. You have a very strange sense of humor, Mr. Barrymore. And I don't know why I call you Mr., because quite frankly, I shouldn't elevate your position. You're scum. And 9 people went to a party. 3 of them were women. The 3 women cannot have committed the heinous rape of this poor man, Mr. Lubbock. I know Mr. Lubbock's first wife. And Terry Lubbock, a man who campaigned tirelessly to try and get justice and never got anywhere because you, Barrymore, didn't want to tell the truth. So, Barrymore, man up, grow up, show up. If you want to continue to be famous, why not tell the truth? Say which one of the other of the 9, and it can't be the 3 women, so that reduces the number. There were 8 of you who could have done this, and 8 is reduced by 3. That leaves 5. Now, 2 of you ran away. One of you that ran away was you. The other one was the local bin man. You ran away, and then there happens to be your ex-lover, the man who had convictions for criminal assault. You see, I do know this case inside out. I'm very sorry it was brought up. I'm talking about it. It was not my intention. And here we go. My intention was not to begin with this, but we've got 60 of you here, and you wanted to ask my opinion. Barrymore, where's the door handle? Where's the pool thermometer? Asked Paulie. Somebody must know. Precisely. You did not mean to get me going down this rabbit hole this early in an evening, but there are 63 of you here, and well done to whoever brought it up, because you've challenged me and I've said it. 9 people went to a party. 8 of them lived. 3 of them were women. 5 of them were men. The 3 women cannot have done it. Of the people who remained, 2 of them fled the scene. One of them was Michael Barrymore. The other one was his best mate, the bin man. Interesting that all the items that went missing from the house, the pool thermometer, as Paulie here highlights, the door handle. And why did Mr. Barrymore have a swimming pool in his garden if he couldn't swim? So here we go. And his ex-wife highlighted a photograph where he was pictured swimming on a cruise boat. So, Mr. Barrymore, stop telling porky pies. You are not Mr. Innocent. Shame on you. So I think that's enough for the evening on Michael Barrymore. Let's move along. Thank you very much for joining us. We've got quite a few of you here. But anyway, so right, what else would you like me to talk about before we move on to some of my main topics? You're all getting very worked up about Barrymore, and I think perhaps I should move this along, because I didn't expect to begin by going into a rant about Barrymore. I'd expect a rant about Barrymore at the end, but you don't like Kitty. Yes, well, nobody likes Kitty, and we won't be going down the Kitty Avenue. Would I have anything to say about Anne Widdecombe? Please excuse me having a sip of whiskey, and I just need a little drink. You'd like me to ask about Fayed? Well, okay, I can talk about Fayed for a moment. So, Fayed. Today I have had developments in my investigation into Mohammed Fayed. Fayed is somebody obviously I know quite a lot about, because I knew Mohammed Fayed personally. I knew I knew his children. I haven't seen them in a while. I did know Omar Fayed, and I knew via people like James Stunt, who dated Camilla Fayed, and the brothers and the rest of them, and obviously a lady called Iris Bond. And I'm not going to go too much into detail, because the victims groups are going to be doing a lot in November, because this is when things will progress to the next level, because Harrods are now suing the Fayed family, because the Fayed family lied when they sold their store in the due diligence process about what legalities were involved. So there's going to be a lot going on. And I know a lot about the background story involving people like Michael Cole, who was Mohammed Fayed's PR spokesman. He's conveniently gained dementia recently. Michael Cole was the person I've met most often. He never forgot anybody's name, and now he's suddenly got dementia. Convenient, that isn't it? Really? Yeah, he lives in a little barn conversion in Suffolk, I believe, and he's forgotten everything he knows about everybody. I think my friend here, who comes from the world of fashion, perhaps may have come across Mr. Cole. Mr. Cole was a very arrogant, fucking little bastard, to be honest. He was a snotty, snivelling creep, and he sucked up to Muhammad as if, Muhammad was God. And now he's suddenly got dementia. Oh, diddums for him. What a shame he might potentially risk being prosecuted, or as with the rest of them. And the other ones I knew, one of them is dead. And I do believe this has all come about because of her death, because she knew where everybody was buried. Everybody. I'm not saying everybody literally, I'm saying that part of the story. But we are at a situation here with the Fayed case where we have an inquiry of 400 allegations, 1977 to 2014, rape, sexual assault, sexual exploitation, human trafficking, and he died in 2023. There are 156 complainants, and 21 of them had been to the Metropolitan Police before he died. Shame on you, the Metropolitan Police. Yet again, the police have got shame on their house. This is completely wrong. Why on earth did they do nothing about this creep whilst he was alive? Now, look, you can say, how on earth could you go and have lunch with him and all the rest of it? Well, I did. I knew of him because I was young and I was there and he was at people I know's houses, and I didn't know he'd be there necessarily. And then I got to know his children, and I didn't know them very well, but I will say I found the whole lot of them very strange, but they were not people I got to meet closely. It was in big groups. I cannot say I knew them intimately, but I never liked him because the first occasion I ever met him was at a party in Harrods. And I was at university at the time, and we were invited to this party, and it was for what was called the White Hall. It was a hall. It was nothing to do with cocaine or anything. It was the launch of his perfume gallery. And that evening, when I was at university, I was invited to the White Hall for this party, and I remember being there, and Liz Brewer was there, and this Basher Briggs woman was there. And I remember her coming straight up to the husband of one of these people and handing over a pill. And he said, "Here's something to get you going. You need it. Go and your wife." And that was, and I thought, you are dirty and filthy and disgusting. And that was my first ever encounter with Mohammed Fayed. Was in his own department store. So it was on his terms, and it was on his premises. And I didn't like him, and I thought, what a strange man. But then the next encounter was at someone's home. There was a lunch for 12 people. I was one of 12 people. There was the Archbishop of Belgrade, the Archbishop of Serbia, there was the Archbishop of wherever, Father Michael Seed, all sorts of people. And he was there. And again, he behaved in a similar sort of fashion. So my only ever encounters were like this with Fayed. He always turned everything into a show of making a fool of these stupid rich old people. He mocked them. He mocked everybody around him. And of course, people like Neil and Christine Hamilton, who I know, they went to court against him and they lost. And obviously, Jonathan Aitken, they lost. Anyone who took him on, he was rich. He could afford to do it. He'd blackmail people because that's how he got rich. And Fayed is an evil, evil man. But we are going to go through a process which will get bigger in November. So we have to wait. And this is something I've found with a lot of people writing to me on all sorts of means about lots of other stories like Epstein and, all the rest of it. You all want everything. And Prince Andrew, the former Prince Andrew, Peter Mandelson, you all want justice tomorrow. Well, justice takes time. We have to take the time to go through the due process. And I don't have a problem with that, but many people seem to. We have to wait. It's annoying that we have to wait, but you have to go through the process. And today we've seen it again because of the investigation that was going to be done into Epstein in England. So Epstein in England is a very big investigation. And I'll talk to you a bit about that briefly because, I was the first person, I would say, to talk about how Ghislaine Maxwell committed crimes in England long before anyone else. I was talking about Ghislaine Maxwell committing crimes in England in my first article was the 11th of December 2020. Everybody is now suddenly talking about Ghislaine Maxwell and Jeffrey Epstein's crimes in London today. Well, in 1994, as I revealed on the 11th of December 2020, and Channel 4 then subsequently came to me and were going to do a program with me, but then they gave up because they were clearly scared off by somebody. I said, why didn't they stop her? Why did they not stop Ghislaine Maxwell, the mucky madam, Ghislaine Maxwell, in 1994 when they could have done? I knew a woman who lived opposite her. Ghislaine Maxwell lived in a place called Stanhope Mews East in South Kensington from 1989 until 1997. She had a neighbor. The neighbor gave me a statement. Her statement was, I'll read it to you in full. I was visited by officers from the Met Police in 1994, whom asked to use a bedroom in my property to install a camera at the window to monitor the house diagonally opposite, 69 Stanhope Mews East. I was not told at the time who the person concerned was, but I now realize it was Ghislaine Maxwell who was the owner of that house. I recall seeing very young girls coming and going from that building very often. The officers remained for a week, and then I heard no more. The officers, I never heard anything else about what happened next. All I know was that a brothel was being operated from there and that the police wanted to close it down. They could have caught this evil woman then, but maybe her friendships with powerful people like Prince Andrew helped ensure her criminality was swept under the carpet. There we go. So that is what I wrote in 2020. That's what I wrote 6 years ago. I'm not somebody who's been talking about this for 5 minutes. I've been involved in this story for many years. So there we go. So I don't know, what do you think about that? Let's see what the mystery guest has to say about that before I go deeper into it. What does the mystery guest think about the lack of investigation into the activities of Jeffrey Epstein, Ghislaine Maxwell, and Prince Andrew in London in the 1990s?
Ooh, well, it all connects to London, and that's evidence from the fact that the head of SIS, British.
We need to be date specific here. Let's talk about things that are relevant to the date here, not just general.
How's up?
But let's go down that road.
Okay. What, 1980s?
No, 1990s, which is when this was.
Okay. Well, yeah. I mean, the 90s was. I mean, Ghislaine Maxwell had significant connections to the top levels of society here, and Jeffrey Epstein was a nobody really in the 90s. He was brought into Bear Stearns by Ace Greenberg, who was introduced to him by the Dalton principal, who was William Barr. Donald Barr, the father of Attorney General William Barr.
70s.
That was the 70s. I know. I'm just slowly I'm doing a chronological, putting things into perspective here. Ghislaine Maxwell in the 90s was, she was very much a socialite, and Matthew knows a lot about the details of her circle and the various members in that. So if you would like to elaborate on that, please do.
No, I was asking you about her involvement, what you knew about what she did in the 1990s. The 1970s is when her father operated, and that's a different era. So it's a totally different sphere. But what I would say is that Ghislaine Maxwell in the 1990s was known to the Metropolitan Police, and Jeffrey Epstein was coming to London in the 1990s. It changes the narrative from all of this happening much later in the 2000s. So this is what we should be interested in, is their web of criminality goes back a lot earlier than we originally thought. Obviously, I've spoken in the past about Aldine Honey and, the allegations of Eaton Square, but I don't believe the dates. But we have a different bunch of people here. So do you have any views on the 1990s of Ghislaine living in Stanhope Mews East, what she could have been up to with any particular connections, or are you just more interested in the bigger picture?
I can't remember the specific dates of what Maxwell was doing on in what year and all that. She was obviously a socialite who had a big network, and she was already hanging out with Prince Andrew around that time. And she facilitated introductions for Epstein to a lot of, and we know about Douglas Leese, and that's a very important connection. That it was through Douglas Leese, right? That we know that he was already in contact with the Maxwells, and Douglas Leese's son was in the Bullingdon Club with Mark Ogilvy and was it I think it was Mark Baring or something like that. Like the Bullingdon Club is where it's like a precursor for intelligence services for bankers in the City of London. They Candace Owens' husband, George Farmer, was a member of the Bullingdon Club. Nat Rothschild was a member of the Bullingdon Club. So it is a very exclusive club, and Ghislaine Maxwell and the Leases. I mean, Douglas Leese was selling weapons to various different countries. That's a job that's pretty much strictly reserved for intelligence. Only intelligence services can access the top brass of various governments and get involved in weapon sales. Definitely the Ghislaine Maxwell is much more important than Jeffrey Epstein.
Well, there we go. So that's an interesting perspective, and a different perspective from a different era. But yes, Kiss Me Honey Honey, yes, Aldine Honey. Yes, so that's more to do with the era of the 80s, but the era of the 1990s is the era that I'm talking about here, which is obviously the era when Ghislaine Maxwell was under investigation. And we are now talking about a new investigation which potentially could occur. And Andrew Lowney is getting rather worked up about this. And, he is quite rightly saying, will the UK inquiry into all of this be cancelled? He speaks of the cover up and salutes only Gordon Brown for the New Statesman article arguing for an investigation. Alex Davies Jones, the victims minister, did suggest there would be an investigation into this. Well, it doesn't seem to be occurring. Backwards Burnham does not seem to want to go down this route. And, obviously, Epstein and Maxwell had a meeting at number 10 with Tony Blair. Peter Mandelson organized it. This was all in the 1990s and 2000s. How the establishment controls the narrative, says the Lowney report. And that is what it is. We have to question whether this is right, correct, fair, and proper. Is it something we should be tolerating? So, is it something that we should allow? What do you all think about this? So, let's have your views on this matter. So, anybody got any questions? So, please question everything, says one of you. No, honestly, what I say is, I know that the house of Ghislaine Maxwell was under surveillance in 1994. Ghislaine Maxwell was under surveillance by the Metropolitan Police. Ghislaine Maxwell, as I've said again and again, went to school with Dame Cressida Dick. Dame Cressida Dick's father was her tutor at Oxford. Dame Cressida Dick became the commander of the Metropolitan Police, admittedly later, but Dame Cressida Dick was also involved in Thames Valley Police. Thames Valley Police are now investigating Andrew Mountbatten Windsor. They are the lead force in the investigation into him. Do we see where this little pattern of stink goes? Do we see what comes next? But Dame Dick is a very strange woman, and I do not trust her with a used bus ticket. Well, spin doctors like Alistair Campbell were all over it, says Katz McPhee. Well, there were lots of spinning around, but I don't know if he was to be blamed for this particular incident. Right, anyway, it's a bit like the line of duty, says Louis. Well, there we go. So, right, well, you don't seem to be biting with lots of questions on this particular one. I thought you'd have lots to say about Ghislaine Maxwell, but has the appetite for Ghislaine Maxwell died? Are people no longer interested in Ghislaine Maxwell? I had a drink earlier today with a gentleman and his friends, and they said, does anyone really talk about her anymore? Isn't she a bit boring? Aren't we all sick of her? Shall we not just forget her? Let her go away? Shouldn't she just get a pardon? And that's how they felt. They didn't really care. They thought maybe it was time to let her out, that she suffered enough. How do you feel about Ghislaine Maxwell, audience? Do you want her free, or do you want her locked up for life? What's your view? Have you a view on Ghislaine Maxwell? Now, is Ghislaine Maxwell someone who belongs in the funny farm, or is Ghislaine Maxwell who should be let free to go? What do you think? Let her rot, says Tina Da Silva. We can't let it go, says the Blue Nomad. The Blue Nomad asks if she's suffered. Absolutely not, says Debs. The Blue Nomad, lock her up. Debs, absolutely not. Cats McPhee says, takes her puppy away. Serendipity Street says it's not boring. Let's ask the mystery guest. Should Ghislaine Maxwell remain in prison or should she be free?
Yeah, she should remain in prison, of course, but let's not forget. I mean, Matthew made a good point about the introduction with Blair and Mandelson. Mandelson is huge in this, and he is often overlooked. He was sworn to the Privy Council in 1998. He started off as a young communist at Cambridge, I believe, and was connected with the Fabian Socialists at Labour. He was backing both Brown and Blair. He boasts that he was behind Starmer and several prime ministers. And he was tapped to become the EU. Well, he was the EU Commissioner of Trade. He was tapped to become the China's representative to the IMF. The Privy Council is, he eventually became Lord President of the Privy Council, and they sit in what is called Orders in Council with the monarch. So there are about 4 members who go to these meetings, and they discuss issues of national security. The Privy Council control issues of national security and overseas territories, and almost anything could be classified as national security. Historically, British intelligence was run via members of the Privy Council. You will see since its founding in 1909, Arthur Balfour, all of them were connected in Lloyd George. A lot of these. The Privy Council is a way, basically, for legislation to bypass Parliament without any discussion, and it is using the executive stamp of the Crown via the monarch. So that's how things get done. So basically, my point is that Ghislaine Maxwell was tapped into the highest levels of government.
A very wonderful summary by the mystery guest. I'm sorry to take the microphone off him, but he does like to go down deep into the detail, and we can always do a separate show another day where he does the whole detail of the entire story. I think that would be a wonderful thing. Would you like such a story? Please let me know in the comments. It would be wonderful if you'd let me know, because then maybe he can make his own show. We would love to have a show, wouldn't we, with the mystery guest talking just by himself, where he can explain the entire points of these things. Did he say Boy George? I don't think he mentioned Boy George. No. No. Boy George is a truly awful person, but he's got nothing to do with this particular matter. Yes, you would love the mystery guest to go down the rabbit hole. So the mystery guest needs his own show, but it will have to be a radio show, obviously, because he doesn't like to have his face seen. So you'll have to make a special show for the mystery guest. Our little friends are here, but I don't think that I will persuade any of them. Oh, here comes one, but no, there you go. You can see a little bit. There you go. A mystery guest has joined in. Another mystery guest. Little mystery guest. But anyway, right. So, yes, woof woof. Precisely. Right. Dish the dirt. Well, who do you want me to dish the dirt on next? What's the next angle you want to hear about? Meanwhile, let's have a few questions from the audience. And meanwhile, you could join in and just ask a few questions. So please do. Does the mystery guest frequent PJs? He has been known to. He's like the Stig, though. You wouldn't know who he is. So he doesn't stand out. So he has been known to be there. Andy Burnham certainly does not frequent PJs, as far as I'm aware. I haven't spotted him there yet, and if I do, I might change my drinking establishment. But I don't think I will have to, because I don't think he would be particularly welcome there. Right. Ms. Hensley, sorry, not Mrs. I stand corrected, Ms. Hensley. Very cute. Miss Hensley thinks the little ones are very cute. Well, very kind of you, Miss Hensley. But well, you never know. You might get invited to join us on a future occasion. So there. Right. Right. Another mass shooting in America. Well, I don't know. What's the mass shooting in America, Mr. Guest? Mr. Guest.
A lot of that has to do with.
No, there must be an incident. We went to report on the news.
I do not know the exact incident, but it's probably a kid who's been over medicated. Who's seen this.
Okay, right. Well, right. What's Philip Green doing these days? Well, Philip Green is being as repugnant and horrible as he always is. Let's be duly honest, as is Lady Tina, as she likes to be called. Her name is Lady Green, but she can't accept it. She's truly awful. Right. Right. Well, we're getting shouting in the background. And anyway, let me move on to one of my own topics because I think that is probably more useful. And that is the case of Lynda La Plante. Now, Lynda, looking out for Lynda wasn't looking out for the speed cameras, was she? Now, Lynda didn't look out for the speed cameras, so she got caught at 24 miles an hour. Now, Lynda La Plante is someone I've only ever met once at the crime conference in London. I don't know Lynda La Plante, but what an amazing lady. What an amazing achievement that she's had in her life. Lynda La Plante has written, aged 83, was born in Lancashire, and I grew up partly in Lancashire. I respect people from Lancashire, great county, wonderful place. She spent most of her time in Liverpool, but, we'll excuse you that. You're not Cilla Black, so thank God. Lynda began her acting career with Z Cars. She started out with Bergerac, and we all love a bit of Bergerac, and The Sweeney. Lynda, in 1983, wrote a 6-part robbery series called Widows for Thames Television. It was about all the widows of a bunch of thievers who then went on and committed their husbands' crimes. It was a huge success. In 1990, she wrote Prime Suspect. Helen Mirren was the star. She had 170 hours of prime time telly. What a brilliant woman this is. What a fabulous, what wonderful genius. This is a lady who has a net worth of probably £30 million, allegedly, according to the people who are criticizing her. This is a lady who had 35 international bestsellers. She gave showbiz breaks to Idris Elba, Michael Fassbender, Carey Mulligan, Penelope Cruz, and Ralph Fiennes. This is a lady who has been an achiever. Now, that doesn't excuse criminality, but I don't like the 20-mile-an-hour zone. And Lynda La Plante is an 83-year-old lady who has a rather big dog. And her rather big dog has to be taken to a park to exercise it. So she says. Now, you may say this rich woman should pay for her dog to get in a van, be taken away and exercised or whatever. But she felt that she wanted to drive her dog. Anyway, she has been disqualified from driving for 6 months. She has been fined £3,300, 24 points on her license, £130 in costs, £1,332 in a victim surcharge, and she's not very happy about it. Now, what do you feel about her? Rose M says, hands off our Lynda. Well, I think poor old Lynda does deserve a bit of a break. The 20-mile-hour, she was 4 miles over the limit. This is a situation that is a bit ludicrous, wouldn't you say? Now, let's quickly ask the mystery guest if he approves of Lynda's fine. Is it correct to fine someone for driving at 24 miles an hour in a 20-mile-an-hour zone?
It's absolutely ridiculous. It's a victimless crime, and there should be no completely illegitimate for government to do anything along those lines.
Should I'll ask him again? Should Lynda La Plante have been fined a total that will come to probably, I would say, £5,000 for driving at 4 miles an hour over the limit?
That's a big no.
A big no. So there you go. We all support Lynda La Plante, and the little ones have just joined in to say, in chirp, 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 they agree. We do not support lovely Lynda La Plante getting a fine. This is Sadiq Khan fining people. So Sadiq Khan has a war on motorists. This is something he says that keeps us all safe. What? Cars? Have you ever got in a car? Can you drive a car at less than 20 miles an hour? Because quite frankly, I couldn't. You know, the minute you get in it, the speeding does go up. So other people who've been fined, famous faces, to give you an example, Eddie Redmayne drove at 28 miles an hour. So he was 4 miles an hour above her, admittedly, but he got a cheaper fine. He only got 1,530. What do you think of that, mystery guest? He got a half price to her.
Oh, yeah.
No, well, say something. He's not much use, the mystery guest, at joining in. Idris Elba, he was caught at 28 miles an hour also. His fine was only £316. Do you think that's correct?
I don't believe in any. I don't agree with any of these fines.
Amanda Cronin, who's somebody the mystery guest, I don't know whether he met or not, she got fined rather a lot more, and she got rather a substantial ban at 24 miles an hour. I don't have her number written down. So in Westminster, there have been 88,192 offences for this crime between 2022 and 2024. Is this acceptable? What do you think? 80,000 people have been fined. Is this correct? Why do people keep voting for Karren? Well, they're completely stupid, aren't they? Yes. Well, anyway, it's absolutely revolting. So, you know, we have a situation where 21 out of 33 boroughs have the default speed. Over half the capital's road have 20-mile limits. There were 11% of them in 2008, 25% in 2016, and they want 80% by 2030. This is ridiculous. What is wrong with our population? Why do we not revolt? Is it not time we had a revolt? Anyway, I don't know where you are, you audience. I don't know what you're getting angry about, but let me know your thoughts. What do you think of the whole situation? You know, literally, this is a lady who should be given a break. Leave her alone. What did she do wrong? La Plante should be left to be able to drive her car at 4 miles above the limit. If she were driving at 40 miles per hour above the limit, maybe I might agree with you. I don't know whether the mystery guest would agree. What would the mystery guest would like to speak? I'll let him speak.
No one should be paying these fines. They're completely arbitrary and pointless and stupid, and there needs to be a mass sort of disobedience here with these sort of
What
traffic.
about La Plante?
Well, I don't know about La Plante.
Well, speak about La Plante.
Well, that's
She's
your.
at 4 miles an hour above the limit.
I mean, it's ridiculous. I mean, these are victimless crimes. There's no harm done, and it is completely illegitimate for government to infringe on people's liberties. We should be able to drive as fast or as slowly as reasonably. We're not harming anyone.
Miss Hensley thinks it's a stealth tax. What do you say to Miss
Well,
Hensley? You know Miss Hensley personally.
100% it's a stealth tax. I mean, especially in America, it works exactly the same way. You have, traffic police and wardens going around being paid already by the government to then tax people in order to raise more funds, municipal funds for local law enforcement, courts, all of that kind of stuff. So yes, it is a stealth tax, and they're eroding all of our liberties. It's a nanny state we live in. It's run by Fabian socialists, and they're trying to bring in as much legislation in as possible to curtail our natural rights, and it is done through the Inns of Court, and the whole. This whole system of law is working and being weaponized against us, and yeah.
Well, the mystery guest speaks great sense on this particular topic. I totally agree with the mystery guest. We do need to stop this ridiculousness, and Miss Hensley, quite right, it is a stealth tax. It's absolutely appalling. The mystery guest will not be showing his face. I'm very sorry to say, Rose, he doesn't wish to. He's a very timid soul, and he's one of these little people of society who has to hide his little rose under the bushel. So don't be worried. He's not a bad person. He just does not wish to be seen. So don't be upset because you can't see him. And cats. I don't know what cats have got to do with it, but there we are. If cats are part of the story, no, it's about walking a dog. The lady, Lynda La Plante, wanted to walk her dog, and she didn't want to take the dog to the Richmond place because there were too many children and too many deer and all the rest of it. So she wanted to drive to somewhere else. And Lynda La Plante is a fantastic lady who has generated jobs and excellence in Great Britain. I think we should celebrate Lynda La Plante, an 83-year-old. We love 83-year-olds, do we not? We have people, wonderful people who have achieved, who are still working at the age of 83. Think of, wonderful people who are, I'm not going to say their names because they won't like me mentioning that they're 83, but we do know several people who are 83 who are still working, and fabulous that people can work at 83. Isn't that great? Don't take their life away from them by banning them from driving. Sadiq Khan, you're in your armored fucking Range Rover. See you next Tuesday. And I won't use the horrible word, but I've used the abbreviation of it in my form. And shame on you, you disgusting, revolting man. I cannot stand you, Sadiq Khan. Your position should be banned. It's not Lynda La Plante who should be banned. It is you. My poll on Twitter asked, which is more deserving of being banned? I asked, and I got 94 votes. Okay, doesn't mean much. I asked. Now, my guests may have a view, and I want to hear their views. I asked, which is more deserving of being banned? Lynda La Plante driving. First option. Second, the 20-mile-an-hour zone being banned. Katie Price keeping pets. Third option, and I'm only allowed to ask 4 options. Otherwise, I could have asked many more. My fourth option was Bonnie Blue bonking. So, which would you prefer, audience? People present, what would you prefer? You would have preferred Katie Price, right? I'll ask the mystery guest, which would you prefer banned?
What are the options?
Lynda La Plante driving, 20-mile-an-hour zones, Katie Price keeping pets, or Bonnie Blue bonking?
Isn't there a fourth option?
That's your fourth option. You've got four.
I think you mentioned three.
No. Lynda La Plante driving, 20-mile-an-hour
Oh, okay.
zones, Katie Price, or Bonnie Blue?
20-mile-per-hour zones.
There you go. The mystery guest is very conservative. He doesn't want to get involved in the sexual types. And the other guest in the room,
I'd have to go with Katie.
he would go with Katie Price. He doesn't like people who abuse animals, so Katie Price for him. Right, Katie Price seems to be popular amongst the room. Yes, ban Katie Price. Ban Katie Price. Bonnie Blue, yes, so well there she gets a few. Well, I don't know where all the audience is tonight, but we haven't got as many of you, but we have a few. We have a fair few, but we don't have as many as last time. God knows what's happened to the audience, but yes, Katie Price. She's damaged. Oh dear, leave her alone. You're being nasty. My friend here says, say that to the pets. Right, so the actual answer to my quiz was that the overall majority wanted the mystery guest to win because they said they wanted the 20-mile-an-hour zone ban. 31.9% versus Katie Price keeping pets banned at 30.9%. So it was very close, but the other two didn't. Even Bonnie Blue didn't get a look in. For once in her life, Bonnie Blue was thrown down the loo. She wasn't really very popular. Bonnie Blue is supposedly in her 20s. She looks about 40s, says the Blue Nomad. I would rather listen out to Lynda. Oh, right. Okay. Well, there we go. Right. So, the next question for you. Well, let's turn to the matter of the day, which is the matter of Joshua Bonehill-Paine. Now, I don't know whether this will bring in more people or send people away, but I don't know how much the mystery guest knows about. Oh, actually, let's give the mystery guest his chance. Do you want to speak about something, the mystery guest?
No, not unless it revolves around politics or history. So
I thought you had your own agenda.
Well, no.
I thought you had a speech.
No, I don't have. I was just researching some stuff that I thought would be interesting, but it doesn't. I don't want to interject. If there are questions regarding politics or history, I could answer them. But apart from that, I leave the crime stuff to you.
This isn't crime, but would you like to talk? Well, actually, well, the mystery guest. We will ask the mystery guest whilst we're waiting to go into the topic to think about the matter of counter-extremism and anti-Semitism and political correctness, and because that's the angle we're going down next. So maybe the mystery guest can think of his thoughts on the general themes of counter-extremism, anti-Semitism, political correctness, over apology, Jewish apology, all sorts of things. So today, obviously, we've had a big issue. Kamikaze is drinking Kashimari, Kamikaze, as I called you. You're drinking Bolanja. Well, that's not the way you spell it, but anyway, you don't spell Kamikaze that way either. So We both spell it wrong. So anyway, well done to you and well done to me. Cheers. Here we are. You're making English muffins. Okay. I don't know what an English muffin is. I've absolutely no idea. What is an English muffin? Could someone please define such? Cheeky. Oh, right. That's an English muffin, is it? Right. So, Joshua Bonehill-Paine. I don't know how much you know about him. Right. You think it's full on KGB. What does the mystery guest think? Is it full on KGB?
Well, it's all on KGB.
The Joshua Bonehill-Paine situation.
I have not been following that.
He has not been following it. So Joshua Bonehill-Paine is the individual known as the Crewkerne Man. He created the Crewkerne Gazette, and he has now been appointed as the advisor to the Conservative Party on Culture and Integration Commission. He is a man who is on Twitter. He has 12,700 followers. He blogs about from radical to reset. He's interested in counter-extremism, combat and anti-Semitism. He's a political commentator and satirist. He's Britain's leading political satirist, according to the Times of Israel. He created the Crewkerne Gazette, which is considered, as the Spectator said, the most important political satirist of the moment. He makes videos where he mocks Nigel Farage. Farage is in garage. He mocks Kemi Bad. Well, he's bigged up Kemi Badenoch rather a lot. His most recent videos have been quite favourable. So perhaps his attitude has changed towards her, or maybe it always was the same. Maybe he always was in favour of her. But he's always been very negative about Nigel Farage. He's always been very negative about Andy Burnham, Diane Abbott, and all the others. Most of my friends quite like his videos, but they didn't realize that his videos were made for one purpose, which was, attacking anyone but Kemi Badenoch, supposedly. Now, whether that is what his motivation was, I've never met the man, but he's always been very polite to me. I will say my interactions with him have been very polite. I had utterly no idea on who he was until this very morning. I had no idea that this man was somebody called Joshua Bonehill-Paine. Now, Mr. Bonehill-Paine is a little bit controversial, let's be honest. I had no idea. My friends, my ritzy friends, thought his videos rather funny. This Crewkerne Gazette, he created what were called AI videos. He was the Banksy of politics, said the Times. The Banksy of politics, said the Times. He was somebody who was the successor to Punch. He was built for the new AI era. The Crewkerne Gazette had 40,300 followers the last time I checked on, Twitter. His viral AI clips were so popular. He passed vetting for reform, this individual, it turns out, in 2024. They wanted him as their candidate. Nigel Farage wanted this man he now hates as his candidate. He's now he was going to stand in Crewkerne South for the Conservatives, but he's now ceased and desisted. He is offered to meet with Jewish groups, and Kemi Badenoch said he's more than contrite. Well, he has a history. Let's go through his history, and then you can decide whether you like or loathe this individual. I have never met this individual. I don't know him. I can't say if I like him. I can't say if I dislike him. But I'm quite shocked at some of the things I've learned. But equally, I'm quite shocked at some of the reactions of some of the lefty loons who haven't got the half wit to realize that people can change. In life, people can change and people can become better people. So some people do deserve a second chance. And from what I'm gathering, we'll see. So let's see what you think. What do you think of this man? I'm going to give you a little bit of a tour of his history, and it's up to you. At the end of my tour, you tell me. Now, the mystery guest, are you ready to listen?
Yes.
Are you going to listen?
Yes, I am. Yes.
Because he's too busy playing on his telephone
I'm
device.
reading the comments.
He's reading the comments. Mr. Guest loves to join in with comments. Mr. Guest loves a bit of a, naughty thing. We love our mystery guest. He's part of the family. We have to tell with family, one tells one's family off always, don't we? We're quite difficult with one another, aren't we, mystery guest?
Correct.
There you go. It's about as far as we get with him. Correct. Oh, well. So, right. So, Joshua Bonehill-Paine, and you may be listening. Hello, Joshua, if you are here, because you have been writing to me on Twitter today, well, corresponding. Yes, Mr. Bonehill-Paine. It's a very difficult name. I realize you've had a difficult day, because I'd never heard of you. I never ever heard of you until today, but I knew you as Crewkerne Man, because that's how you followed me. You were Crewkerne Man. You had 12,700 followers, and you blogged about being radical to reset. So you told the Guardian that let's go through your situation first. Right. You described yourself as a nationalist, a fascist, a theorist, and a supporter of white rights. Your first conviction was for assaulting a police officer, the burglary of a police station. Your second conviction in 2014 was for malicious communications, anti-Islam hoax against a Leicester pub owner. Your third conviction, you were jailed in 2015 for 3 years for vile anti-Semitic material. The fourth conviction was guilty of racial aggravated harassment and abuse of Luciana Berger, the MP. Of course, you described Luciana Berger as a rodent and an evil money grabber. She, of course, not many people know this, was the ex-girlfriend of Ewan Blair, who I happen to know. That's how I knew Luciana. And then your fifth conviction, your fifth issue was you founded the far-right National British Resistance Group. But since then, this gentleman has, or this man, whether depending on your views of how you feel about him, he has founded a counter-extremism movement. He is involved in education training sessions for schools on the reality of radicalization, how grooming and recruitment works, how grievance narratives work, how online communities can accelerate hate, early warning signs, prevention, safeguarding. He uses his own history as a cautionary case study translating it into lessons that are practical, uncomfortable, and effective. He said, I reformed myself after the murder of Joe Cox. I started to question why it was I was supporting a right-wing ideology. And, clearly this is somebody who thinks that he has changed. I did have a Twitter poll. I haven't got my Twitter poll in front of me. Let me find it. My Twitter poll should be concluded. And my Twitter poll asked, is it hypocritical of Labour to slam former neo-Nazi activist turned Banksy of politics, Joshua Bonehill-Paine, being allowed to stand as a Conservative council candidate? He's no longer standing, whilst having neo-Nazis like Councillor Margaret Burke represent their party, and the majority thought that Kemi Badenoch is on the wrong path to support him. But I'll come to the matter in a moment. Let's ask the mystery guest what he thinks of this person being allowed to have a voice in politics. Is it something he approves of?
Anyone should be able to have a voice in politics. I don't know this man specifically, but he does sound like an agent provocateur. He's got all the signs of MI5, which is exactly what they do. Is they try to push people into extreme categories using ethnic and religious fronts. So most of the time when you see people who are overtly racist or bigoted in the mainstream media or in politics, they are normally serving as a part of a disinformation strategy of creating a dialectic between two different groups. It's all based on divide and rule. It's divisive, and it is done intentionally to create a backlash. So the best thing to do is to ignore these people. But
there we go. We get an honest opinion from the mystery guest. Well, I counter this with, the Labour Party, their hypocrisy of having a character called Margaret Burke. Margaret Burke is a Labour councillor. They wanted this man to be a Conservative councillor. He hasn't been allowed to become one. Margaret Burke was allowed to become a Labour councillor. Margaret Burke was elected as a Labour councillor in Milton Keynes. Margaret Burke has dressed up in Nazi uniforms. Margaret Burke recruited youths to daub buildings with swastikas. Margaret Burke has been sent to prison at HMP Holloway for vandalising a butcher's shop for the Honourable Liberation Front. She has been photographed, Margaret Burke, a Labour councillor, with Jeremy Corbyn, Diane Abbott, and Caroline Flint. Labour have said it's a total disgrace that this young man was appointed. Kemi Badenoch's selection of a former neo-Nazi who was convicted of harassing a Jewish MP whilst kicking out moderate Tories who backed net zero was a disgrace. We call on the Conservatives to rescind his selection and review their vetting process, as said Karen Newman, the board of the British Jews. It beggars belief. Well, there's hypocrisy in the extreme, isn't there? Wouldn't you agree, Mr. Guest?
Yes.
He's not paying attention.
I don't know what to say to this.
He's not paying attention. He listens when he wishes. Anyway, never mind. It's very difficult when you're trying to do a program and people don't pay full attention. But
I could rattle about
He doesn't wish to he doesn't wish to rattle on, but he wasn't listening. He was too busy looking at his telephone device. I think he's looking at the comments. I don't know what he's doing, but he likes to do it his own way. Anyway, thank you for you joining in with our comments. I don't know what's going on with this program tonight. I don't know where many of you are. I hope you're enjoying it. Have you anything that we'd like to ask us about? We'd rather talk about something completely different. We've talked about lots of other topics. Obviously, we haven't talked about David Sullivan and mates, but nobody seems to be that interested in that. So anyway, the mystery guest would like to talk to you for a moment about something, but could I ask before you join in, please support this channel. Please give generously. Please support it. We would love your help. Please subscribe. We've got over 20,000 on YouTube now. That's absolutely fabulous. But we need to have the support to keep us going in all sorts of forms. So please subscribe in every form you can. The more we have, the merrier, and it does help the algorithm and all the rest of the nonsense. I have utterly no idea how any of this works, but it is wonderful that it gets it going. And the donations that you make are fabulous. So please make donations. That's very kind. Via the Ko-fi thing and the PayPal and the other thing, whatever. That's very kind. It's all much appreciated. But the mystery guest would like to talk to you, and that would be a thing. And someone is supplying a link to me doing these cameo things. I don't know if you want me to make a video for your birthday. I've done it for one person, and I don't think anybody else probably wants me to do that. So I think that's kind of crazy. But anyway, if you want to join me to do any of these things, well, please ask. But please support my channel by just the way you can, whatever you can feel is worthy of you. But meanwhile, the mystery guest would like to speak.
I would just like to say that these so-called extremists, which I call agent provocateurs, the strategy is clearly divisive, and we have to keep remembering that. It doesn't just go with what we call white supremacism, but it's also with Islamic fundamentalism as well, and Jewish supremacy. So, these are all tools to divide the public. This guy sounds like another David Irving. David Irving was on the MI6 payroll. He was working for Fritz Thyssen, the steel company that backed Hitler. He had MI6 publishers. His dad was in naval intelligence. Clearly this guy is designed to create this divisiveness. If you start promoting I don't know exactly what he is saying, but I do know that that when you push someone like that to say these things, it pushes people then to support Zionism, which is it is a very evil ideology, and all of this is calculated to create a counter response, and that's the main thing we have to realize.
Well, no, we thank everybody for differing opinions, and that's there's no differing opinion with me. I don't know anything about this particular person, but we welcome all our opinions. But we're going to soon have our quiz. It's soon going to be the quiz o'clock. We've got to have a bit of a quiz because we're going to have things cheered up. Thank you to John Clifford for £10 as a donation. It's very generous and wonderful to have support because, we can't keep these things going without support because, I used to live in a world where I used to have advertisers, lots of advertisers, and we'd have very fancy advertisers like Blake's Hotel and all the rest of it, and, fancy estate agents and all the rest. But then COVID hit, and we don't have these fancy advertisers. So your generosity and kindness. So thank you, John Clifford. Welcome and thank you. And we do really appreciate your generosity. So any donation, but you can donate in any way you want, or you can just subscribe and join. And if you watch our adverts on here, that helps us also. So please just subscribe. The subscription helps. So thank you to every one of you who helps in every way you can. It's a much appreciated thing. But anyway, it's been wonderful to have all of you chatting on all of those topics. And the mystery guest has excelled himself with his deep dives into all sorts of little topics tonight. He's now going through the comments. I don't quite know what he's up to, but he looks like he's found something to say to you. So perhaps he might have something else to add whilst I think about getting ready. We've just had another donation of £5. Thank you to Shannon Sweeney. You're one of a kind. Thank you, Shannon. That's the most kind thing to say. That's much appreciated. So, please keep supporting this channel, because otherwise, you can't keep doing these things if you can't keep going. And one has to survive. And it's very generous that you support us. So thank you to Shannon Sweeney. You're a very kind lady. And others out there, you've been very, very generous in the past. And I thank you all for your generosity over the years. So we appreciate the fact today we've got to 20,000 subscribers on YouTube. That is quite a milestone. On Twitter, come on, get me up to a bit higher on there as well. On my personal Twitter, I think I have now 17,800 on my personal Twitter. On my other Twitter, I have 16,100. So please get more of those on there. So please follow and subscribe on all of those things. We welcome all of you. The more the merrier, wherever we go. This is how this works, because, all of these people like Sean Atwood and, this Andrew Gold and all the things I speak on, they've got thousands and thousands. Thank you to All That Fluff, $14.99 Australian dollars for the Slosh Fund. Thank you. And Alicia, $9.99. Thank you. Thank you very much. I sound like I'm running the show on the program, but thank you. The support really, really helps for this. But please, anything that you can do really, really helps. Anyway, the mystery guest would like to speak for a moment, and then maybe at 8:30. So we'll give the mystery guest 2 minutes. He can speak for 2 minutes about his political views.
Someone wrote, "Is Edward Heath as bad as Epstein?" Edward Heath definitely seems to have been a pedophile. My grandmother. Oh, okay, sorry. My grandmother had, she used to frequent a lot of the Conservative Party dinners, and she was not a conspiracist by any means, but I remember her saying clearly that she had heard about Edward Heath being a bad person and being, yes, just as bad as Epstein. Remember that this is clearly a lot of the stuff with Dolphin Square, Profumo scandal, what's his name, Jimmy Savile, Ghislaine Maxwell. It all connects to the Crown, the City of London, intelligence and blackmail, and this is why we get the leaders that we have. This is why they push us into all of these disastrous policies. This is why we have people like Peter Mandelson running the show, people like Edward Heath. This is like, Boris Johnson was seen to be on the island as well, St. James. It had been revealed by Andrew Lowney, that there was a former prime minister there, and I believe that that was likely Boris Johnson. Blair. Which prime minister hasn't been without a scandal, a sex scandal? This seems to be. Even what's his name, Starmer, with the young Ukrainian boys. There clearly seems to be a lot of flags telling us that our politicians are compromised. Every MP swears fealty to the crown.
I think he is correct. I think our Mr. Guest speaks a lot of sense here. Starmer and the Ukrainian fire starters. Yeah, let's be honest. Plenty scandal there. Boris Johnson, bit of wine chucking with old Kerry. What was going on there? All the rest of it. The most recent leaders we've had, very bad. So, this is a gentleman you should listen to. So I'm only interrupting him because I want to keep my own channel going here, because this is my channel and I have to speak. And he won't be seen on the camera. And because I'm sitting here, it looks rather fucking stupid. So I have to occasionally say something, because otherwise it looks like I'm some moron looking at a camera and I look like the village idiot. So here we are. Have another little word with the mystery guest.
Someone asked about Mark Carney, and yes, Mark Carney is, he was a former governor of the Bank of England. He was a governor of the Bank of Canada. He sits on the Canadian Privy Council, which report to the UK Privy Council. He was pictured with Ghislaine Maxwell as well. He is at a very top level, a huge part of the problem. Canada has always been run by the Crown. It was ruled by the Privy Council, just like Australia was ruled by the Privy Council, and then later the Canadian Institute of International Affairs, which was set up by Chatham House. Australian Institute of International Affairs was also set up. Canada, essentially the Bank of England had set up central banks around the world. In America, it was the Federal Reserve. It was done by the Pilgrim Society, which were Anglo-American, American elites from political, financier, and industrial families that were loyal to the Crown. And you had Edward Mandell House, and who was a Texan oil tycoon who studied in England and was a Fabian socialist, and he was very much Woodrow Wilson's handler. And you had Sir William Wiseman, who was head of MI6 in America, living with Edward Mandell House in the same block. And they helped to orchestrate via the Pilgrim Society, the Federal Reserve, with the members of the Pilgrim Society included Paul Warburg, who's one of the architects of it. You had J.P. Morgan, you had Nelson Aldrich, you had the Rockefellers and the Vanderbilts, and literally Herbert Hoover, and all of the American presidents basically were members of the Pilgrim Society.
There you go. You've got a very rounded discussion of all of those people from the mystery guest, who has his very, very strong opinions on those particular characters. He'd like to say more, but I might let him say a bit more because he seems determined he wishes to. But we don't want to say too much more because it's soon going to be time for a quiz. I don't want to lose the audience. I think it's time that we upped the game and got back, onto the quiz, because that's what many of you want. But I'll let the mystery guest have 30 seconds of final conclusion of what he wishes to say.
I'd just like to carry on with Mark Carney, who. Okay. It's always good to look at how these people started. He was at the University of Oxford. He was governor of the Bank of England. He was a co-chair of the World Bank. He was United Nations Secretary General, Special Envoy on Climate Action. He was head of the G30, which run a central bank, which is basically the collection of 30 central bankers. He went to St. Francis Xavier High School. This is a Jesuit school, and I mean, his career is all.
You know, our mystery guest speaks very well, and he's calling the man out very intelligently. However, I realize that most of you are demanding a quiz, so we are ready for the next stage of the evening, the quiz. Are you ready for the quiz? Mystery guest will be, I don't know, mystery guest may join in with the quiz. Maybe he could read out a question. I don't think he'll be able to read my writing. I don't think anybody could, because my writing's so appalling. We all missed the old quiz because of old men. The old men used to scream and yell in the background. I would have to find another way of getting another bottle of wine. It was always fine. We always had a lovely time, but it's kind of funny doing this all again for me, because I used to be sat in an armchair in Saint-Tropez doing this, not somewhere in London. But anyway, it's very, very kind of my friend here in London to be doing this, and we are about to do it. The mystery guest is trying to grab the microphone. I don't think the mystery guest understands that I'm trying to talk about times past and history, but the mystery guest wants to speak. I don't know what the mystery guest is. I think mystery guest. I don't know why you feel
comments about Andrew Bridgen. So
no. The mystery. We'll save that till after the quiz.
Okay.
Save it till after the quiz. Right, mystery guest, sit down and relax. Sorry, it's time for the quiz. The mystery guest is getting a bit carried away. Please just don't worry about him. He's a lovely, lovely person. But look, I don't come back to this quiz without, history. So it is a strange thing for me that I used to do this quiz every night with somebody who's now dead. And it's a year since they've been dead. And their dreadful daughter has had no courtesy other than to be appalling and rude. But that's another matter to the story. But let's be honest. Let's celebrate the memory of the great Lady Min and have a lovely quiz. So let's have a quiz in the honor of the lovely Lady Min. Wouldn't you agree?
Absolutely.
Yes. Well, the person who knew her best, who's here, wants a quiz. So he's ready to keep the scores. He's going to be Diana Dawes. He'll be either Diana Dawes or he'll be Debbie McGee, whatever I want him to be. I think he looks more of a Debbie McGee than a Diana Dawes, to be honest. But there we go. Your first question is this. Now, and we can allow the mystery guest to join in. We can't allow the score taker to win, I suppose, but I suppose he could too, because he doesn't know the answers. So are you ready? We're getting complaints from America. And thank you all for the donations. The donations are much appreciated. Any others are also. So that's very kind, very generous. So thank you. Quiz time. Let it go. Right. So Made famous in the folk song on Ilkley Moor Bar Tat. In which English county would you find Ilkley Moor? Which English county would you find in Ilkley Moor? I used to live there. Well, the answer, Mr. Balding gets it with Yorkshire. Of course, it is West Yorkshire, but I'll accept Yorkshire. Bill Oddie wrote his own version in the style of Joe Cocker's rendition of the Beatles, with a little help from my friends and my good old friend Bill Oddie, who died only a couple of weeks ago. Methodist tune Cranbrook from Canterbury was what the music was based upon. Other versions are available from Chipping in Lancashire. So there you go, Ilkley Moor Bar Tat. Okay, second question. What does the informal noun gobbledygook mean? What does gobbledygook mean? Well, the tailor, the troublesome tailor gets the point. Troublesome tailor, who is present in front of me, gets it with nonsense. It means meaningless. So he wins the point because he got it straight away. It's a language word, excessive use of technical terms coined in 1994 by the Texan politician Maury Maverick, who thought that the long and fancy government letters sounded like a turkey gobbling. And then, of course, there was Lorraine Kelly, our lovely Lorraine, and my dear lovely Lorraine, and I love Lorraine. She is referred to as the Gorbals gobbledygook because her language doesn't make sense. I went to a party for the film Mamma Mia, and she was there to introduce it. And she went, "Matthew, how are you?" And I said, "Hello." And I was standing next to this American, and we went to sit down. And anyway, she said a few other things. He said, "What language does she speak?" I said, "Don't worry, it's Gorbals gobbledygook." And that was how he remembered Lorraine Kelly, the queen of Gorbals gobbledygook. So we love a bit of Gorbals gobbledygook. Gobbledygook is a useful word that should be used more often. Right. Anyway, did we get who got the point? Oh, right. Eric Stania. Oh, right. No. Well, I'm sorry. My psychics. Oh, well, why don't you be the scorekeeper? No, you. No. No, you keep the scores. Oh God, they're getting. You keep us. You've got to keep the. Oh, good Lord. Why don't you keep the scores of of which one gets the answer correct first? Oh dear, they're not much use. Oh dear, this is like being house and bucket. Oh please, you could keep the score of the which one gets it right first. Can you do that? Right, next question. Right, you got to be quick because I'll keep an eye. Okay, next question. In which year, at the age of just 27, did singer Amy Winehouse die of alcohol poisoning? Well, that's correct. The mystery guest gets the point. 2011, the 23rd of July, she died in Camden. Obviously, she was involved with Pete Doherty. Her father, Mitch, has just had a court case over all her possessions. He's not particularly pleasant, but, some of my friends like him and some do not. Won't go down that route. Okay, what does the abbreviation TMI mean? What does TMI mean?
Too much
The mystery guest has immediately won another point. Too much information. It's particularly appalling that the mystery guest seems to know such terrible things. It's a warning, and it's also known as an apology. Did you know that? The mystery guest is not answering. He doesn't want to answer the question. Okay, on the 30th of July, 1818, who was born at Thornton Parsonage near Bradfield, West Yorkshire? The 30th of July, 1818, who was born at Thornton Parsonage near Bradford? It was not David Lloyd George. It wasn't Anne Lister. It wasn't Charles Darwin. It wasn't Queen Victoria. It wasn't Dickens. It wasn't a prince. It wasn't Churchill. It wasn't Anthea Turner. Well, obviously, it wasn't Anthea fucking Turner. It wasn't Kipling, but it was Emily Bronte. Yes, so you can have that. Emily Bronte. It was Rose M. Rose M. Come on, you're meant to be monitoring. Rose M. Rose M. Rose M got the point. Well done to Rose M. Of course, you know, what a wonderful, wonderful story. You know, the Bronte sisters. Have you ever been to the North Yorkshire moors to look at the places that they lived? Well, of course I have, but have you? One of our little guests here has been nodding his head to say he's been there. The other one has not nodded, so clearly he hasn't. They moved to. She was the author of Wuthering Heights. Moved to Haworth in 1820. In the mid-19th century, it became a butcher's shop. Later, it was Emily's Cafe, and in 2025, Queen Camilla reopened it as the Bronte Birthplace Visitor Experience and Cafe. You know, Anne, Charlotte, Emily, and Branwell, the brother, were all born there. And of course, then they moved on. Okay, next question. Number 6. Which famous puppeteer, a magician, was fish and chip shop tycoon? This is also Yorkshire connected. Harry Ramsden uncle to. Which famous puppeteer, a magician, was fish and chip tycoon Harry Ramsden uncle to? Any questions? Any thoughts? Have we got any answers? Harry Corbett is the correct answer from Mr. Lee Kicker. Harry Corbett. So Harry Corbett, of course, was the creator of Sooty. 1952. Izzy Wizzy, let's get busy. He played the piano at the restaurants that were founded in 1928. So there you go. In which state and home variously to Colgate heiress Adele Colgate, J.P. Morgan, William Waldorf Astor? This is perfect for the mystery guest, given his obsession with such characters. Albert Einstein is Tuxedo Park situated?
So the question, where was it situated?
Yes, which state is it situated? Tuxedo Park.
Georgia?
No. The first correct answer is Sarah Havison with New York. Sarah Havison gets it with New York. Obviously, it was a village of about 645 people. It's gated. It's got, it was the inspiration for the evening dress, tuxedo. We are the home of the tailor, so, you know, that's an interesting thing. It takes its name after a resident went to Sandringham to meet the future King Edward VII and came back with one of 300 with one. It's got only 330 houses. It's 2,086 acres. It's got 3 lakes, no swimming and no powerboating allowed. So that's Tuxedo Park. I'm surprised the mystery guest doesn't know it. Now he does. Perhaps the mystery guest might end up living there. It could be his next location. Next question. In which English county was legendary English rugby union player Johnny Wilkinson born on the 25th of May, 1979? Johnny Wilkinson. Where was Johnny Wilkinson born? It was not Shropshire, and it wasn't Kent, it wasn't Durham, it wasn't Yorkshire, and it wasn't Devon. But Balding gets it with Surrey. Balding. So well done to Balding. Right, next question. Nick Carraway, Daisy Buchanan, Jordan Baker, and Myrtle Wilkinson are all characters in which 1925 novel?
Daisy, Great Gatsby.
I think Hey Tigers beat you to it, but you were nearly there, the mystery guest. I think the mystery guest was a close second, but we'll give Hey Tigers that 1 point. Of course, it was The Great Gatsby. The F. Scott Fitzgerald Great American Novel. Right. Next question. Which English novelist in her 1953 mystery novel After the Funeral, published in the USA as Funerals Are Fatal, wrote, "You cannot give to people what they're incapable of receiving"? Who wrote, "You cannot give to people what they are incapable of receiving"? The immediate correct answer is Hey Tigers, yet again, Agatha Christie. It was the tragic gap between what we wish for to offer to someone and their capability to accept and receive it. Okay, with which branch of plant science is Shirley Sherwood OBE associated? Shirley Sherwood. Which branch of plant science is she associated with? Sorry. Yes. Mr. Lee Kicker gets it with botany. It is botany. Of course, Shirley Sherwood has the Gallery of Botanical Art at Kew. She's the driving force behind the revival in the interest in botanical art. And of course, her husband owned the Orient Express, the Belmont Hotel Group, and many other things. So Shirley Sherwood was a very wealthy woman who was a great friend of Barbara Minto and many, many others. So I got to know Dame Shirley Sherwood. Was an amazing lady. She certainly stirred the world up with all her plants. Anyway, there we go. A random question, but there we go. But you got it within 1 click. Whoever you are, you're quite good on the old quizzy. I don't think you're cheating on the AI. I don't think you are the weakest link. Right, next one. Now, what are we going to do next? Have we got stop cheating we're getting from other people here? I think somebody needs to pour me another drink. Right. I've got to keep them in order. These underlings here, can't pour my own because otherwise I look like I'm the alky and I'm advertising the alcohol brand. If you wish to sponsor us as an alcohol brand, we'd love to have you. Would be good. My friend would like me to get a cottage cheese brand to sponsor the channel. He loves cottage cheese. I think my friend here, he prefers kind of magic mushrooms and all sorts of other things. He likes things in containers. I'm not quite sure what they are, but right. Next question. Let's go down the next question route. Right, we've done Charlie Sherwood. Okay, as of 2026 and age just 15, with which sport is JJ Gabriel associated? JJ Gabriel? It is not rugby, it's not darts, and it's not cricket. JJ Gabriel. It's not the high jump and flipping ads. It's not Quidditch. It's not gymnastics or billiards. Sarah Havison gets it with football. He's Man United. He's so well regarded. He's a forward. He's the youngest ever under 18 in the team. He is the son of an Irish footballer, Joe O'Carroll. He's eligible to play for England, Ireland, Cyprus, Trinidad and Tobago, and Ireland. So there you go. Isn't that a bit ridiculous? They can play for all of them. That's a little bit much. It's getting a bit much when people can play for everybody. This woke massacre of our world. Look, anyway, he sounds like a nice young boy. Well done to him. Good for him for achieving. Wouldn't you say? What do you think, Mr. Mystery Guest? Do we think that we should be allowed to play for 7 football teams, or should we only be allowed to play for 1?
No comment.
Well, that's not much use, is it? Oh, thanks for that. So, no comment from the mystery guest. Well, that was a waste of fucking time even asking. So I do apologize. Right, next question. You'd love to go on the Raz with me and Andrew, the royal writer. He's too nervous. Oh. Right. They'd love to go out and have a drink with me and Andrew Lowney. Oh, right. Thank you. It's very kind of you. If you wish to invite me for a drink with Andrew Lowney, I don't think Mr. Lowney would agree to such a thing, but maybe I might come and have a drink with you, but I don't know when it would be. Anyway, next question. So let's move along. Right, since we've not got very far with our mystery guest. Now that question. Right, where was I up to? We had JJ Gabriel. Published in Britain first in January 1921, which British author wrote The Mysterious Affair at Styles? Which British author wrote The Mysterious Affair at Styles? Well, the mystery guest isn't even bothering to answer. It wasn't H.G. Lovecraft, no. It wasn't Pass. You're not trying very hard tonight, but TMTB gets it with Agatha Christie, of course. So it was Agatha Christie. So TMTB. Right. Best known for his 1980 novel, The Name of the Rose, what was Umberto Eco, 1932 to 2016, an expert in? What was Umberto Eco an expert in? There's plenty of things you can have, and I'll give all of the options, so it doesn't... Well, they wouldn't list that as one. I wouldn't list that as one.
Medieval history.
Okay, the mystery guest gets it with medieval history. We'll give the medieval guest a pass and let him have it. He was very much a medieval historian. He was involved in semiotics, the study of signs. He was a cultural critic. He was political social commentator. He was a philosopher who was into Italian medievalism. He was involved in God knows whatever else. He sounded like he was quite an annoying man. Right. Starring River Phoenix, of whose 1982 novella of the same title is Stand By Me, an adaptation of. Who is Stand By Me, an adaptation of? The 1982 version, which of course is the film was made in 1986, and the film in 1986 starred Corey Feldman, who of course is someone I've spoken with, and of course there's Rob Reiner and the coming of age movie and da 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 da.
Adaptation of a book.
Of course it's an adaptation of a book. The mystery guest is doubting if it's an adaptation of a book. Well, straight away, Hey Tigers got it with Stephen King.
Oh God! Right.
Yes, so of course it was an adaptation of Stephen King.
Okay, I thought you meant the name of the original book. I was like, okay.
Well, that was the question.
Oh, the author. That was the.
The question was quite direct.
Okay. Yeah, I didn't know. Yeah.
You didn't listen. The poor old mystery guest didn't listen, so he is excused for his stupidity on this occasion. We love our mystery guest, but he did not listen. Right. Next question. Maybe this will be a simpler one. In which English county, and established in 1945 by a radio astronomer from the University of Manchester named Bernard Lovell, would you find the Jodrell Bank Observatory? Which county would you find this in? I think our friend over here would find it obvious, but John Clifford has found it straight away. John Clifford is Cheshire. Obviously, the Jodrell Bank 42-foot radio telescope, which is they're planning to close in 2028 under the dreadful Burnham government. They're going to get rid of the Jodrell Bank telescope, which is a bad thing for our world. It's a UNESCO World Heritage Site. It's a 42-foot radio telescope. Shouldn't we save these treasures of our nation? What do you think, mystery guest? Should we save our telescope?
Yeah. Why not?
He says, why not? He doesn't know why. Our other guest comes from that part of the world slightly. He's not listening. Our other mystery guest does he agree that he agrees we should save it? We don't. Burnham, bog off, Burnham. We want our Jodrell Bank. We want it saved. Shall we save the telescope? Tina De Silva says save the telescope. What do you think, viewers? Should we save the telescope? Well, we've got hundreds of you here, so we'd like to save the telescope. Whoever you are, Rose M, thank you for your kind observation about the state of my my personal abilities, but I'm quite capable of still talking, so please don't insult me. So why don't you bog off? Get off my channel. I don't really care to be insulted. Thank you. Why don't you bog off? Bye. Good night. Piss off. Thanks. Yeah, and you have been deleted. So goodbye. You are the weakest link. No, I don't take kindly to people being rude to me. So There we go. I don't normally react, but you were very rude. I don't need rudeness. Thank you. There is absolutely no need for that. So, yeah, we've got to bog off. Yeah. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to do it, but, well, there was a necessity for an obnoxious twat. Sorry. Anyway, next question. Anyway, we move along in our lovely quiz. We return to the nice old quiz. There's no need for nastiness. Anyway, if someone's nasty, there you go. Boom. Out the room. Bog off. Easy peasy. I have a kindly person here in the background who just delete. Amazing. Thank you very much to the kindly little admin. A bit of a splash. Bye-bye. Oh dear. Don't worry. Weak links never come back. So, next question. Right. Right, we've done that one, we've done that one, we've done that one. Right. Okay, in which English county and established in 1945 by a... no, we've done that. Sorry. Right, sorry, God. Founded in 1948, in which year did King George VI grant Land Rover a royal warrant? What year did King George VI grant Land Rover a royal warrant? It was not 1934 or 1948 or 1950. There's no guesses in the room. Adam Forbes can have it in 1951. Of course, it was 1951. Though the Royal Association was given, when King George was given the 100th Land Rover in 1948, my friends were given the 101st in 1948 also. And of course, Prince Philip had his own hearse made by Land Rover for his own funeral. He designed his own Land Rover for his own funeral. And what a wonderful motor vehicle company Land Rover is. I think it's a fabulous company, absolutely the best in the West. So celebrate Land Rover. My first ever car when I was 7 years old was a Land Rover. My father gave me a Land Rover. I tipped it over. Stupid child that I was, because I drove it up a mountain and tipped it over. So I'm an idiot. But anyway, we had wonderful cars. My Land Rover's now in Canada, I believe. It thankfully isn't living with Meghan Markle. That's all I can tell you, because I'll come to her later. Anyway, next question. Right, so where am I up to? How many miles long is the Afric Kintail Way in the Scottish Highlands? How many miles long is the... My guests in this room, or my host and guest, look completely confused because they have utterly no idea what this place is, because they're amateurs when it comes to English travel. They prefer traveling in South Africa and Seattle. It is not 4, it's not 500, it's not 3.5, it's not 110, it's not 60. No, in miles, it's not 130, it's not 86, it's not 223. It's not Foo Fighters. It's not 50. Well, I'll accept you, TMTB. TMTB says 47. It's 44. I'll accept you. You're the closest. So you are the strongest link. We won't say goodbye. You know, you're my Anne Robinson of the moment. It goes from Drummond on Loch Ness to Morvich, Kinteritz. It's 3 to 4 days to complete. It's a total ascent of 6,000 feet, 100,000 years old natural woodlands. I love that area of the world, and I love visiting there myself, but I've never walked it. But do you think I look like someone capable of walking for 4 days? I'd rather sit in a bar and drink whiskey for 4 days. Anyway, there we go. Next question, your penultimate question. We're nearly at the end. What is gelato a type of? What is gelato? Sorry?
Ice cream.
Wow, Sean got there first. Sean got there first, so we give Sean the point. A person called Sean, he's in the background. He wins the point. The other one nearly got the point. I'm sorry to all you out in the audience because you were all getting it correct as well. No, gelato is Italian ice cream. It's 6 to 9% butterfat. It's lower than other types. It's 35% air. It's got more flavoring, and it was invented in the 1600s. So there you go. And your final question, which could conclude it all, I don't know. Do we have any at this stage in the game? Do we have a clear winner?
No, we got 43 points.
Oh dear. Well, then we have a problem.
We did. Yeah, well,
No. Now we have a problem. This is my quizzer says Debbie McGee has been useless because Debbie McGee has not told me that they've all got the same number of points. We cannot continue the quiz without success, but we have one more question. So if we get a clear winner on this next question, we have a result. If we don't, we have to then I have to find another question. This could be a problem. Oh dear. We may have to ask the mystery guest to invent a question. Or I may have to find another question. This could be a moment of terror. Anyway, here we go. So, right. We have who do we have still in the winning?
Mr. Balding.
No, the people with the 3 points.
3 points, Mr. Balding.
Mr. Balding,
Mystery guest.
the mystery guest,
Hey, Tigers.
Hey Tigers. All 3 of them potentially could win this quiz, but we don't know which one of them it could be yet. Who are you betting on? Who are you betting on? Right. Well, the final question, and I hope one of them is quick. Okay. Well, it's not going to be a question that I don't think any of them are going to be very quick at answering because it's a question that I love, but they won't love. With which sport was Whisperer Monty Roberts associated with? Well, the mystery guest is the winner. Monty Roberts, of course. Monty Roberts, of course, was an American trainer, friend of the Queen Elizabeth II, transatlantic hit. I don't know why the mystery guest knows so much. The mystery guest, please explain why you know who Monty Roberts is.
It sounded like a horse thing.
Oh no, I'm too shy.
Oh, no, you have to speak now.
What do you want? I got nothing to say. What do you want to say?
You can't run away. Oh, fine. Right. Anyway, thank you very much for joining in this quiz. He seems to have known the answers. Thank you very much. The mystery guest has not, as far as I'm aware, yet been bitten by the dogs, but you want them to bite him. Oh. All right. Well, I don't know why he wants it. That's not very nice. Anyway, here we are. Cheers and beers. Well, here we are. Whatever. Hello. Thank you very much for joining us. But the mystery guest, I don't know why you want the dogs to bite him. It's a strange thing. What's my favorite breed of dog? I don't have favorites. I've always said that. Don't do favorites. I like Labradors. I like English Pointers. I like all sorts of dogs. Terriers, all sorts of dogs. Irish Wolfhounds. I had one of those. No, I love dogs. All sorts of dogs. No, you mix it up. You have every kind of dog. Spaniels, lots of delightful dogs. My friend here likes Dachshunds. That's his choice of dog. Every kind of dog. No problem with any kind of dog. Right, okay. Next question. Are we doing questions? So we're now doing questions. Questions. I don't really want questions about dogs. It's boring. Can we talk about something else? It's totally dull. A question on another topic. Thank you very much to everybody who supported this channel. It's very, very kind of you, but I don't really want to sit here talking about
Was there
dogs.
some questions on Andrew Bridgen?
The mystery guest would like to talk to you about Andrew Bridgen. I don't know why, but anyway, he'd like to talk to you about Andrew Bridgen. Would you like to hear him talk about Andrew Bridgen? Because anyway, I'm going to hand you over so he can talk about it, because he clearly has a desire to talk about it.
Two people asked about Andrew Bridgen, and I have found a tweet from him on April 2nd, 2021. I have had my first vaccination of the Oxford AstraZeneca vaccine this morning at Mason's Pharmacy in Colville. The staff were very helpful. Can I encourage everyone to take up their vaccine appointment and protect themselves and those they love? Together we can beat COVID. He then joined Lawrence Fox's Reclaim Party in 2023, I believe. So there you go. He's encouraging people to take this.
That was a long time ago.
He studied biological sciences at school. He was a Royal Marine. These people are they're all on the same team.
Well, I think the criticism that our friend offers is quite fair, because Mr. Bridgen is not a reliable witness in history. I don't like Mr. Bridgen, but people's allegiances can change, and the things that they believe in can change. I don't think that particularly offends me, but other things about Mr. Bridgen offend me because I just don't like Mr. Bridgen. I think he's a horrible person. He's disgusting. But I support my friend, the mystery guest, because I like the mystery guest, and mystery guest and I are jolly good friends, and we've become jolly good friends. We don't agree about very much. We agree about a fair few things, but stir the pot. But that's life, and that's what we must all do. We must think of the future, and you must all think in that way too. So, if you could support my channel, it would be fabulous. It'd be great if we had a bit more support. It'd be great if we had people who joined in a bit more. We've got over 20,000 today, all our subscribers, but we need a few more members. We need a few more of this, that, and the other. I know it sounds like I'm a beggar, but, well, that's what one has to be in this era, because that's how the mainstream media that I'm not don't exist. I have to work the way I do, and I create things and I find things. And today, today alone, the things I found out about the Fayed scandal that you're going to be learning from me soon are huge. I am going to expose the biggest stories. Jeffrey Epstein is a nobody in the scheme of the Fayed scandal. Fayed was 100 times bigger. I know the truth of Fayed. And all of these lawyers like Gloria Allred, they've all got their sticky little fingers in the pie of dealing with the victims of Fayed. Do you know how much money these people are making? Do you know how much they are profiteering? I think this is the real scandal of this story. And I think the mystery guest might agree with me.
Mm-hmm.
These people have got their little cloven hooves in the little scandal. I am the one who is standing up for real justice here. I'm the one who's going to go after the story of what Mohammed Fayed did. I am the one who can tell the truth. Wouldn't you agree, mystery guest?
Correct. Yes.
Mystery guest, speak.
Yes, he is.
Speak.
I think Matthew does an excellent job on exposing these vile creatures like Fayed and all of this true crime stuff, and his diving into matters, fighting for people who've been wrongly imprisoned, and then also calling out abusers. Well, Mark Alexander is another one. Yes, Mark Alexander, who is wrongfully imprisoned, I have met, and yeah, no, there's Matthew is great at exposing these high-level criminals that a lot of the mainstream media are not exposing. And I kind of provide some of the political background context. He's very good at kind of diving into these personalities and finding out who they.
Well, thank you to the mystery guest, because he is, without people like him who talk in the background, who help me, I would be nowhere. He mustn't leave, he mustn't depart, he mustn't go anywhere. We need him here. We need him in our vicinity, because I cannot do this without people helping me. And, today a kindly lady wrote to me, and I at first thought, oh yeah, another nutter. But she knew every name of every person I'd been in contact with. It proves this little network is a lot bigger than we already know. And the nasty, nasty people who we all knew from our nice little world that we lived in here in Chelsea, we had a lovely little world of all these characters, and there were people like Min, Lady Min, who saw through them. She saw through a woman called, I will name her, and I will shame her now, because this woman worked for Mohammed Fayed. She ruined Neil and Christine Hamilton's life. She was a disgrace. Her name was Iris Bond. And Iris Bond was a friend of some of the very fancy people who I know. And some of you fancy people will be watching, and you will now attack me and say, how dare you attack Iris Bond. Iris Bond was a woman who lived courtesy of her profiteering off Mohammed Fayed. Iris Bond took money to protect this disgusting scumbag. She got paid with 2 flats in Walton Street in the Marlborough building. She had 2 flats turned into 1. I've been there. Yeah, I've had lunches with her. She's now dead. Her husband is dead. But this woman, it took her death for Mohammed Fayed to be brought down. 400 victims. And it took this one woman's death for all this to happen. That is shameful on our country. That is rotten and is wrong. Shame on every one of you who has protected her. Because I didn't know about his abuse. I knew he was not a nice man, but I didn't know this. I knew his horrible children. Of course I did. I am part of the story of the evil of Fayed. I will admit that. But Miss Bond was running his office in Park Lane. She ran the office of his brother, Ali Al-Fayed, as he called him, Al-Fayed. He is not Al. Al is a completely invented crap name invented by creeps who pretend that they're grander than they are. They are creeps. They're cretins. This disgusting family. And one brother is still alive. Drag him in. Prosecute the bastard. Do it now. It is time he was prosecuted whilst he lives. 400 victims. It is disgusting. There were 21 victims who reported Mohammed Fayed whilst he was still living. I can't find my notebook. I don't know where it is. Wherever it's gone. Anyway, I can't give you the exact numbers, but what I will say is prosecute the bastards. Prosecute the lot of them. And as for his children, well, you know, I do know some of them. Camilla Fayed, never met her, but, you know, she was being sued by her own brother over a mobile phone. Time for you to answer some questions, love. You're being sued by Harrods, the new owners of Harrods, I believe, Camilla Fayed. I hope you enjoy your court case, because you're a fucking disgrace. I hope they take your house. You are a rotten, wrong person. You and your entire family, and what you were doing to your brother with your court case with the mobile phone. Curious, that court case, wasn't it? Anyway, I hope the victims of the Fayed family get justice, because having grown up having to put up with your horrible family, you weren't a very nice bunch of people to have around, but that's a nothing on me. What about those poor people who your father raped? The poor people your father took to rooms and locked in cupboards and abused. You disgusting family. You are filth, you're scum, you're rotten and you're wrong. It's appalling what you did, the Fayed family. You are scum. You stole a department store from another family, and you conned other people, and you raped people, and then your children profited off it. What a horrible bunch of people you are. I have no sympathy for you, the Fayeds. Over and out. On that front. Next topic. What's the next topic? Right, okay. No, he's not listening. No. Right. Filthy Fayed. Oh, right. We're getting more audience. Oh dear. Right. Right. Well, I hope you enjoyed everything, the quiz, everything else. Next question. Well, thank you very much to everybody who joined in and watched this evening. It seems you're mostly logging out, so we'll say thank you and good night. And right, I respond. Well, there we are. Well, Iris is dead. I'm sorry to speak ill of the dead, because I quite liked Iris at some points in her life, but she was a very snotty lady. She was very malicious to Barbara Minto, and it wasn't very nice the way she spoke to her. But she is dead, and yeah. Fayed is dead. I did know Fayed's children, yes, and I got on with some of them to an extent, but I can't say they were my friends, no. Hugh Edwards was never my friend, before you ask, whoever you are. No, Hugh Edwards is not a friend of mine. Right. Okay, well, Hugh Edwards definitely not. Right. Well, I think it's probably time to say we call this a night. Mind you, we're only at 21:33, so if you want to ask me another question, go ahead. Wales rebukes Hugh Edwards. Okay. Right. Well, anyway, I think enough is enough. Right. Thank you very much for joining in. It's been absolutely glorious.
Someone asked a question about Milton Friedman.
Who?
Someone asked a question about Milton Friedman.
Where?
TMT80 asks about Milton Friedman, free market economist.
Oh. You get different questions to me. Well, I don't have any particular views on Milton Friedman, but maybe you do.
He had a lot of sound views. Okay. Yeah, Milton Friedman was a free market economist. He, I believe, was part of the Chicago School, which were from the influenced by the Austrian free market economists of Ludwig von Mises and Hayek, Friedrich von Hayek. Milton Friedman's, he was sort of for this kind of libertarian smaller government thing, which is of course in the correct direction, but he did hold some pro government views. His ideology was then used as an excuse for the CIA to do some regime changes in South America, I think with Chile. I think it was Pinochet's regime. Milton Friedman was okay. Steeples here says he loves Pinochet. I just don't know why. Yeah, I mean, but then again, is that Milton Friedman's work, or was that distortions of it? I do know a lot of people have distorted some of the Austrian school of their free market. They've distorted it to these ideas can be co-opted basically and misused. But for the most part, yes, the Austrian economists were right. We need to decentralize.
Well, I think he's made his points now. There we go. Lots of points. Very well made known. Okay. Well, I don't really know what to add to the points made, but they're not my points, so I can't really make them. So, no. Right. Okay. Well, I understand the general theme of response. Thank you very much for your kind responses.
Someone asked about Switzerland. So
No, I don't think we need to go down any more rabbit holes. I think I don't know. I think our friend here has probably had enough of it becoming a rabbit hole of discussions. But if you want to have another, go on, have one. You'd like one rodeo. Okay, one rodeo.
Someone asked about Switzerland and banking. Well, yes, Switzerland is definitely used as a big hub for globalism. The Bank of International Settlements, of course, is there in Basel. However, the BIS was set up by the governor of the Bank of England, Montague Norman, who is the longest serving governor of the Bank of England. Both of his grandfathers were governors of the Bank of England, and his father was a director of the Bank of England. Montague Norman helped set up the Bank of International Settlements to be the central bank of central banks, and a sort of a clearinghouse for central banks to move their gold around, and Halmar Schacht, who was a director of the BIS, was Hitler's Reichsbank governor with Max Warburg. So there you go. It's all connected. All the central banks work in collusion with each other, and they're basically devaluing our currency and destroying purchasing power through inflation. And we have to pay taxes on the interest. So to service the interest, the debt.
Well, hello. Well, we have a little friend here. We have somebody wiser and a little better thinking who's getting a bit more annoyed. But look, hello. It doesn't really matter. At the end of the day, this little one's getting a bit more worked up. And life is what it is. So thank you to the mystery guest for an amazing chapter of stories and things that he's had to tell. and to all the love and laughter and everything else of everyone else this evening. It's been a wonderful journey. So I'll say thank you very much to you all. You've all behaved fantastically and wonderfully. And, well, it's been a bit of a silly load of rubbish. But anyway, never mind. Thank you and have a lovely evening. Thank you very much. And please do come again. And I don't know if you can tolerate us, but if you wish to leave some generous donation to our channel, you're very welcome. But if you don't, bog off. So there.
Cool. Well, you got some
Good dough.